You have to understand something. There is always another level. You may have achieved a lot in your life. You may be at the very top in one or more areas of your life. But you will not stay at the top unless you are hungry to grow, hungry to improve, hungry to reach the next level. Even if you have to build that level yourself. You may be achieving more than anyone around you, but maybe the standard of people around you needs to improve. Maybe they are making you complacent.
If you keep doing what you've always been doing, you'll keep getting what you've always got. You deserve more out of this life, but you'll never get more unless you are willing to do more and do it differently to the majority.
Don't live your life like the rest. Study the very few at the very top. Have the courage to stand for what you want in life, no matter what they say. Have the courage to travel your own path, however dark it may be. At some point, there will be light, if you keep going.
You must set the standard. You decide what level the bar will be raised to. That's the difference between the majority and the few. The few are always hungry.
Hello, everyone. This is the Onealien from the Onealien Show. Hey, thanks for tuning in and listening. This is episode 2. Before we get started, man, I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate all of the feedback and comments from everyone who listened to episode 1 and who left messages, private messages, or text even. Man, the support was fantastic. I really needed it. We all need it, right? When we start something new, we love to have a little bit of motivation and a little bit of acceptance. And so episode 1 was phenomenal. I enjoyed it. And most importantly, I am honored and privileged that you enjoyed it as well. Hey, so let's get started. Episode 2, we're back again in the mind of the Onealien, the crazy place that is, the vastness that is. And so I have a few thoughts that I want to just share with everybody today. And so thanks again for listening. And in the first episode, I talked a little bit about what this show is about and what some of the things philosophically that I'll be covering. And after a few comments, I wanted to touch base really quick while we get started on this episode 2 and talk about a couple things that it is not. Okay, a couple things that you may come here looking for and you're just not going to be satisfied because I just don't feel it's important. And that's not the way my mind works. There you go. That's just it. If my mind doesn't work a certain way, then we might as well not even address it. A couple things that the Onealien Show is not. Number one, it's not religious. Hey, listen, I am a professed Christian. I love the Lord. I have witnessed the power in my life. I have witnessed the lack of power in my life, which is probably more significant. I have witnessed my weakness and I have witnessed personally what has given me the strength personally to rise up and above. And therefore, that is where I'm at. Now, as far as religion, as far as some of your rules and regulations, and as far as your traditions and all those things, this show is not a religious show. We will not be talking about religion. We may touch base at times on relationship, and there's a spiritual aspect to relationship. So certainly that might come into play. But this is not a Christian episode. This is not an episode that we'll be doing a whole bunch of things, pointing out other religions or this religion or rating them or talking about the pros and cons. Or this is just not the place for that. So if that's what you're looking for, hey, no problem. You can certainly search your dial and find that. The other thing that the Onealien Show is not, and that is a political show. My goodness, we have all been inundated with politics in this time and in this season. And therefore, if you want to get some politics, then there are plenty of avenues for you to receive politics and what comes along with that. There may be some political tones that we look at as far as stories, and we examine them from a impact standpoint as far as politics and policies. But this is not a Democratic show. This is not a Republican show. This is not a badge box or a allegiance to show. Okay. The Onealien Show is based off the mind of the Onealien, who is a free thinker. He is a person who analyzes and evaluates, and that's where he stands on something that he believes in. And it really doesn't matter what jersey they're wearing. What it matters is what's right and what's wrong. What it matters is a moral compass that I try to live by. And what matters is how our everyday lives are impacted, sometimes by politics, a lot of times by politics, and as it trickles down into where we're at and what we're doing. So this is not a political show. However, this is not, we're not going to start the election process. We're not going to sit here and bash our current president or talk about a lot of those things, a lot of the things going on out of Washington, D.C. If you want to get that, there are many, many news stations. If you want to get a real solid right wing take, you could tune into Fox. If you want to get a left wing take, you could tune into CNN. So, hey, go ahead. No advertisement on either one of those stations. My goodness, I can't believe I said the name. But tune in if you want to get politics. The Onealien Show is not about politics. The other thing that the Onealien Show hopefully is not about, and that is depression. All right. Hopefully when you listen to me, then you will not turn off, turn away, or go at the conclusion and feel depressed, because I like motivation. I like to uplift spirits and uplift people and deposit something in their lives that they could use. I'm a very practical person, so depression is nothing that is something that I have personally not struggled with. I believe I've never identified seasons or times when I felt depressed. In general, I've been gifted with a positive attitude on most situations. Positive spin. I like to call it, some people call it the pessimist is the glass half empty person, and then they call the optimist as the glass half full person. And I respect both of those perspectives. However, the Onealien comes with a different perspective, and that is with gratefulness and opportunity of having a glass. So this is not a depressing show. And if you find something depressing about it, then perhaps the thing that is causing that feeling is exposure or vulnerability or self-reflection on some of the topics. The other thing, the last and final thing that I'll say that this show is not, and that is that it is not a timed show, a structured show, we got to do this, we got to do that. Listen, man, it's a time for us to spend together. It's a time for me to express a few things and take you on a journey, a personal journey with you accompanying me. And with that being said, hopefully, prayerfully, and what the goal is that as I go through and as we ride together, that there will be aspects of my life that you can relate to, that you could learn from, or that you could teach me. I'm not here as an expert on all matters and all subjects. I am simply here as a opinion person on all subjects. I do have an opinion. I can develop an opinion rather quickly. So those are the things that we are not. All right. So just so that we're, just so we're clear, and just so we have the proper expectations, we know what the Onealien Show is not. And so we're not going to look for that here. All right. Hey, listen, I want to jump right into a segment that I'm calling the Real Deal O'Neal. And it is time for me to talk about a few things that for me are the real deal. Hey, listen, you may have your real deal, but the Real Deal O'Neal has his. And so you might want to call it a rant. You might want to call it, these are my pet peeves. You might want to call it all those things. But for me, it is just simply observations that I have made in my life, and majority of the time, frustration comes for me when there is a level of incompetence that I just don't understand. And so let's jump right into it. Hey, this week, the Real Deal O'Neal is going to talk about driving tips for men. Now, I say for men because that's who I'm talking to right now. Are they just for men? Well, certainly there are more than just men driving. So therefore, these tips probably would apply across the board. But as men, I'm talking directly to you. We are going to look at these, and we're going to try to solve it as men ourselves. And hopefully other people's will get, did I say other people's? Other people will get something from it too. Driving tips for men, number one. Look, first and foremost, it doesn't matter if it's a law in the book or a sign on the road. Let's get one thing straight, people. When you're driving on the road, there is either one lane and then you're excused, or there are two or more lanes. When there are two or more lanes on any road that you are operating a vehicle on, let's go ahead and set one thing straight. And this is one of the things that, quite honestly, if I was ever to embark on a law enforcement career, I would probably be the biggest jerk to everybody, because this is something that I would pull people over and talk to them about, educate them really quick on the ebb and flow of traffic. Listen, driving tip number one. I know I keep delaying it. Driving tip numero uno. Number one is quite simply stay to the right. Stay to the right. It does not matter. Slower traffic is supposed to stay to the right. How many times are you down a 2-lane road and you get two equally driving speed people, and they are blocking the progress of all the traffic? Listen, stay to the right is driving tip number one. Get your butt over. Okay, if somebody comes up behind you and you are in the left-hand lane, any of the left-hand lanes, then you are to move to the right safely. Turning signal, look for a space, and move over. Move over. No, the rate of your speed has nothing to do with it. I don't care if the posted speed limit is 45 and you're pushing it, going a smooth 55. Okay, if I come up behind you at 56, that means move over. Okay, move to the right. Everybody move to the right. If anybody comes up behind you, that means you are a slower person in this lane. Move to the right. Get out of the way. Slide over. Dip. Turning signal. Right hand turning signal. Slide over. Get it. Go. Move over. Does everybody get that? Driving tip number one. If you are in a left-hand lane and you are not the fastest person in that left-hand lane, get over. All right. Driving tip number one. We're done with that. Everybody understand that? I do not want to pull up to you again in the left-hand lane. Move. Go. Get. All right. I think we got that clear. Number two, driving tip for men. Number two, listen closely. Listen closely. The freeway typically is about 55, 65, maybe 75 miles per hour. Okay. So everybody's going down 55, 65, maybe 75 miles per hour. Everybody's rolling. Everybody's got a proper spacing. Everybody's being safe. Everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing as law-abiding drivers on the freeway. And the last thing that we need to disrupt the flow of traffic that we have already established is to have Mr. Slow Merger Guy. Okay, when you enter into a freeway, when you come off of the ramp and you are getting ready to merge into traffic, you need to be at least within the proximity of what the traffic is going. You cannot merge onto a freeway that's going 55, 65 miles an hour, accelerating at 40 or 45 miles an hour. Stop it. Stop it. Merge means you enter into. Merge means you take your speed and the speed that everyone else is going, and you make sure that they are in conjunction with, and you could merge safely in with the traffic. If you are, oh my goodness, it drives me crazy when I'm going down the freeway and someone has a turning signal on and they are not even accelerating. They're like drifting over to the left. It's like, please, can you, man, look I'm slowing. Look, I don't